man dealing with. But we say stuff because we hear other folks saying them. Until you walk in his moccasins, you don't have no business complaining about him. That's why, unless you have been made the lead. That's why God got such a strenuous complaint about people that do that. And I'm not saying that for you to do the right by me, but you better. You better, because you'll get yourself in a world of trouble. I've been reading in this book, everywhere that people complain, God stepped in. And it wasn't good for the complainers. You don't have the wherewithal to do that simply because you don't know what is required of the person. You don't know about the position that they are in. You don't know what all they have to do. You don't know what they are going through. You don't understand the whys of the decisions. So you don't have any business talking on that. And I'm even talking about your principal in the school, your superintendent on your job, the head of whatever. I don't care what it is, unless you know what the job entails and you are put there. You don't have no business talking about it. You don't have any business talking about it because you really don't know. Just like people don't have any business talking to you about it, how you fix your house. That's your house. What you do in your house, that's your house. I ain't got no business coming to tell me, I don't like this chair right here. I want you to move this chair and put it over there. And then when you don't do it, I go over and tell Deacon Phil, I went to her house. She got her sofa right across the door. That's her business. I ain't got no business talking about that. And this is what we don't really understand. We get ourselves in a world of trouble. And then when you get down and you begin to pray, you start, dear Lord, I need you to do such and such. And then he'll just let that person you've been talking about just come across you. Just come across, letting you know. You number one, you get forgiveness for that. Get forgiveness for that. And if we leave other folk business alone, you talking about the joy of the Lord. Ooh, the joy of the Lord would be all up in your business, all up in your life. The joy of the Lord. And you will be strengthened in the things of God. Oh, help me, Jesus. All right. As we look here tonight, let me go ahead. I'm going to get through here. As we look here tonight at the verse 26, we look here. We said here, Israel had rebelled against Jehovah. This is the state that they were in. They had rebelled against Jehovah, and they had set up, because Aaron told them rather, to take off all the gold that they came out of Egypt with. He told them to take it off because Moses had gone to get the law from God. He had gone there, and he had been gone more days than they thought he should have been gone. So they commenced, there they go, grumbling again. Aaron, you're going to have to help us here, because as for this Moses, now a few days prior, it hadn't been that long, he was like, Moses, what we going to do? What we going to do, Moses? Pharaoh behind us and the Red Sea in front of us, and we gonna die out here in this wilderness. Is that why you brought us out here, Moses? And he said, stand still, be still, hush, and let's see the salvation of the Lord. And he had to go and get the instructions from God. Lord, what you going to have me to do? And God said, what's that in your hand? He said, a rod. He said, well, stretch it out. He stretched it out, and the sea opened up. And they got through. Oh, Moses was wonderful then. Oh, he was just wonderful they going through. Because here's what happened a lot of times. We can be selfish believers. We want everything to just go for us. If it's not going to suit my fancy, I'm not that interested in it. I'm going to see what's in it for me. We don't come and thinking in terms of other people. We don't ever think about how difficult it must be for this one. What? It's always me, how I feel and what I want to do and what I want to say. And this is what messed them up. Moses got the sea open, and they all got through and everything. Soon as they got there, they started clowning again. It just every time he did something, it was something else. So we see them now. They threw the gold in the fire, and then here comes the golden calf. There they are dancing all around it and come back. And when the Bible said that Moses saw that the people were naked, he was actually talking about the manner in which they had turned from their God to the God of Mammoth. They were doing something. They had erected an idol god. They had that. And in God's eye, they were really naked, just like we were. Before Christ, we were naked. We were naked. And they were down there just dancing and carrying on. And Moses wanted to know from them. He wanted to know, Aaron, what is this you've done? You got the people down here. And he stood in the camp and he said, now, you all got to make up. This is not the action of God's people. This is not what God's people are supposed to be doing. So he asked the question, who's on the Lord's side? Let him come to me. And those of you that still want to get involved with your idols or whatever, you stay on that side. And at this particular time, the Levites took the swords. They took the swords and they went through chopping. They just killed them all up. Just killed them up because of their own action. But look, it says also, Moses, he summons the ones who came. He summons them, and they were, as I said, they were the Levites. And these were very stern men. They, in other words, in public, no matter what, they wanted everybody to know where they stood. So they went where they were supposed to go. They wasn't back trying to hide behind somebody, but they went out front to let them know we are on the Lord's side. They took a stand when it wasn't really that convenient. And all those thousands of people that was out there, they saw that they were able and they were willing to take a stand. Now, this is what God says to each and every one of us, that there comes a time in your life where you're going to have to take a stand. And because God has every one of us on a mission. We're on a mission, and there will be time that there will be proving along the way how we are consistent, if we are consistent in what we have said and what we have done. So we find here that the Levites were men that were very, very, they were men of fidelity. They were locked into what they had, who they were and what they had come to be. And God used them continually. He always used them, he blessed them, and he caused them to be a blessing for everybody that they came in contact with because they took a stand. God will always use you and have you to take a stand when it's not convenient, when you stand for him. And this is what he's asking us even tonight. Now, decision.